Welcome to another edition of IDigHighTones. It's winter here in the Northeast. That means snow, ice, cold, damp. Not a very conducive environment for metal detecting. So what I thought I would do is reflect on 2023 and some of the great finds over the course of the year, and I'm thrilled to share them with you. 2023 was a spectacular year. It started off rough, however. On January 3rd, we lost my dad, quite unexpectedly. And obviously it was hard on the entire family. No detecting happened until late in the month of January. My first trip out in January, it was a cold day, but unearthed a beautiful half dime, 1838. Really spectacular coin, great condition, about AU, and it's from a field that I was just starting to work on. I'd gotten permission and was working on that field, and it's turned out to be a very bountiful field. Later, I think it was maybe 1 week later, same field, on a very cold day. I remember the day. Came up with a colonial copper penny. So this is a Connecticut colonial, 1787, 1788. It's the bust looking left, and on the back is seated Britannia. The coin is not in great shape. You can make out the details, but it's my first colonial copper. Really exciting find. Here in the heart of Pennsylvania, about an hour outside of Philadelphia, to find a colonial copper coin that was circulating during the Revolutionary period, lost in the ground here, and found now was really something special. February was not much better than January. It was cold, it was blustery, it was rainy, and I was working on the same field again. Came up with a signal that was high 80s, low 90s, a little bit scratchy, wasn't quite sure about it. Came up with this little piece of silver, which I'll give you a close-up on in a moment, but turned out to be my very first Spanish real. It's actually a half real. It has the portrait on the front and the pillars on the back. It's quite worn and it's punched. I thought that the purpose of the punch was so that someone could wear it maybe sometime after that as a good luck charm or a pendant. But in fact, I've since learned that many of the small denomination colonial coins were punched so they could be kept together on a string and are less susceptible to being lost. Either way, it's a great find and came out of the same field that I've been working on starting late in 2022. Now, they say that lightning doesn't strike twice, but on one of my permissions, it apparently does. A week later, after the half real, same field, I came across this 1 real, much better condition, still circulated, but with very discernible details, the front and the back, even with the date of 1774, so 2 years before the Declaration of Independence. Spanish 1 real, minted in Mexico, with Carlos III on the obverse facing right, and on the reverse of the coin you have the crown, the shield. Spectacular find. I was jumping for joy. I did my silver dance with this coin. Just such a thrill to get a colonial silver coin with full details in the middle of a February snowstorm. I remember the day I unearthed this coin. Let's take a look at the video. I'm on my way back to the car I hear these stories all the time from detectorists, and it it must be the curse of going back to the car, or the blessing of the going back to the car. I thought it was aluminum. I thought it was a can, and I've been digging such crap today. I just did not want to dig another piece of junk. And it was so loud, so obnoxious in my ear that I almost didn't dig it. But here's the plug right there. And here's the hole. It rang up as a 91, but like the loudest 91 I've ever heard. And this is the result. I'm in disbelief. Anyway, it's an amazing day here after literally 3 hours of nothing, zip, nothing. And here I pull a real from what looks like either 1777 or 1727, not quite sure. Believe it or not, also in February, I found another silver coin. This was a silver barber quarter. It's dated 1893. Decent condition. Details were all intact. Circulated, but still brilliant coin. Very first barber quarter, and a nice addition to the streak of silver that I was having early on in 2023. Now in March, same field, back on the silver again with another half dime. First one I found in January was dated 1838. This one is dated 1839. Again, beautiful coin, very light circulation, beautiful patina, great looking half dime. So thrilled with that coin, my second half dime ever. And great to have consecutive years and just separated by 3 months of hunting. Now, the next find, which came in April, was not silver, it was bronze. And it was quite a spectacular artifact. At first, I thought it was a bit of scrap, to be honest. Once I got it home and cleaned off the dirt, took a closer look, what I believe we have here is the metal tip of a leather scabbard that would have been used to sheath a sword. That metal tip is called a chape, and that's what I believe we have here. What's unique about this is that it's inscribed with the name Hamilton, and below that is the Hamilton family coat of arms. Now there's a lot of history to this piece, and I promise I'll do a special piece just devoted to this. A very good friend of mine down in Leesburg, Virginia, has spent a lot of time and effort researching this and has found an interesting trail of historical facts related to this artifact that run through the family of Alexander Hamilton and all the way back to Scotland and to other parts of England and France. So it's a very exciting find, very historical find, and really delighted to find that in April. Now in May, I secured a brand new permission. It was a house that dated back to the early 1800s. It's a log cabin at one point. There's been some additions put on the house. The homeowner was quite excited about having me come over to detect. I searched the perimeter of the house, spent many, many hours, and unusually did not find a single coin, not even a modern Lincoln penny, and you know how rare that is. Very discouraged on this site. A lot of modern trash, pieces of aluminum siding, pull tabs, some can slaw, nothing interesting. But near the end of the day, I got a signal that sounded a bit unusual, a bit bigger than I expected. I just expected it to be another piece of trash. I dug it anyway, and when I pulled it out of the ground, brushed off some of the dirt, I unveiled this really beautiful 14-karat gold brooch. This dates to the Victorian period. It's got 3 interlocking loops decorated with large and small flowers. The back would have had a clasp that's now missing and probably accounts for why it was where it was. This was actually close to the road, and I envisioned that maybe a neighbor from a farmhouse across the road or down the road maybe came to visit. A woman would have been wearing this, and possibly it was a winter day with some heavier clothing on and jackets and so forth, and might have been lost, dropped in the snow, and eventually lost in the ground. So first gold find ever. The Deus II performed like a champ and found that in a field of otherwise many pieces of iron and scrap, and really thrilled with that. The homeowner was as well. We had it valued, and I compensated him for my half of the value of the brooch, and quite excited to add it to my collection of XP finds. Now, June was another very special month. June, I went back to the field I'd been working earlier in the year, and they say lightning doesn't strike twice. Well, in this case, it was a third time.
Got a signal. It was hitting as a 92, 91. It got a little trashy. Digging the hole, couldn't pinpoint the coin, but down here in the corner, right in this spot here, happened to pull out this little guy, and third real from the field. This is dated 1745.
Another Spanish real, 1 real from the Mexico Mint. Very nice coin, somewhat circulated, but all the details are there. This is the real in 1745 that was struck without a portrait on it. So on the obverse, you have the crowned crest. On the reverse, you have the crowned globes and the pillars and water and some inscriptions. Really a beautiful, beautiful coin, 1745. The oldest coin I have found to that point, and continues to be the oldest coin I've found ever detecting here in the US. Now, I did some detecting in the UK in my earlier days, and I found Roman and other coins, but here in the US, 1745, this is the pinnacle in terms of earliest coins for me to date. Now, July, it's a lot different than detecting in January. Weather was nice, the sun was shining, blue skies, great signal. Let's take a look.
So I've got a signal here, deep signal, running on sensitive full tones on the Deus II. And had a signal here, it was coming up in the 90s, good signal. I've dug down. I've got a clump here, and there is a coin in the ground. On the edge, it appears it's a reeded coin, so it appears it could be silver. And we are going to just pull this back, and I do believe we have a silver coin. And I can't tell completely, but it looks like it could be a barber silver coin. Don't know if it's a barber. Yep, there's the barber head coming through on this side here. And on the back, you can start to see the leaves.
So what we have there is a wonderful barber dime. For those of you who have been detecting for years, maybe barber dimes, dime a dozen. For me, this was a great find in the month of July and really capped off my sort of spring and early summer field hunting season. Then it was off to the shore.
Hey, it's John at IDigHighTones.com. We are here at Stone Harbor, New Jersey, just after a big storm. Just got out on the beach. It's a beautiful beach. It's low tide. There's sea foam. The tide is out. And we have our second signal. Our first signal was a Zinkin. This is a nice 90. Very strong signal. Let me show you what we're getting here. 88, well, it's bouncing around now. 89, 90. We're gonna dig it and let's see what we have.
Found many, many sinkers, many pull tabs, lots of modern coinage, nothing particularly old, an assortment of jewelry, some costumes, some not. But my favorite find from beach detecting this summer was this beautiful gold ring, tiger eye stone, heavy, just a lovely gold ring that someone lost. Tried to find possible owners for it. There's no inscriptions or markings on it. It's a very generic ring, but obviously it's a ring that someone's had for a while. This was found at this surf line, down 3 or 4 inches, not very deep, but it was a nice summer find, and sort of capped off probably 10 days in total of time on the beach detecting and finding a myriad of various objects. Well, after the summer, October and November were busy months for me. Didn't get much time out in the fields. And when I was in the fields, finding mostly modern coinage or insignificant finds, the month of December was spectacular. It was a great bookend to a year that had many memorable moments. In December, I had new permission, a house that dated back to the colonial times. It was an old manor house. And the owner invited me on. I detected, I found a few Indian pennies, some modern metal and aluminum. But on the end of my second day, I found this lovely little pendant. It's a rectangular cameo. It's got the design in intaglio of a Greek athlete. It's in the neoclassical style. This dates from the Victorian era. These were quite popular in the rectangular frame. Would have been worn as a pendant. It's actually dated 1876. Really beautiful find. This gold frame is 10 karat gold filled, so it's not solid, but nonetheless, it's a very nice find. And for someone who's interested in classical history the way I am, it's actually a very fitting find as well. Now, I've promised that to the homeowner, and I've cleaned it up, and I'll be seeing them in the next few weeks and getting that to them. Final find of December and of 2023 is the 13th find of the year. For some, 13 may be unlucky. For me, it was quite lucky. Again, this is a find that defied all odds, because I never imagined I'd find a real this year, and a second, and a third. But in December, late December, just before I wrapped up for the season, I unearthed a fourth Spanish real, also from the Mexico Mint. This real, however, is in spectacular condition. I mean, virtually uncirculated. There's some light staining on the back from ground mineralization, but other than that, it's really a perfect coin. It's got a sort of serrated edge. It's got the pillars on the one side and the crown on the other. Dates to 1746. So I missed the oldest coin of the year by 1 year. So this is now my second oldest coin. But what is so spectacular about this coin is that I made the find at around 6 o'clock in December. It was getting dark. I could barely tell what it was. It was underneath the root of a big old mulberry tree that's been there for at least 50, 60 years. As I rubbed the dirt away from it, I could tell it was silver, but I couldn't exactly tell what it was. I stopped rubbing and put it in my box, and I figured I'd check it out when I got inside. What's most remarkable about the coin is that I found it in my own backyard. That's right. Our house dates to 1790. I've detected around the house many, many times, found mostly modern coinage, things dating back to maybe the mid 1800s at best. So to find a 1746 silver real about 35 feet from my back door was quite a spectacular way to end 2023. So with that, I just want to say thank you for joining me on this journey through my 2023. I hope your 2023 was just as good. You know, as metal detectorists, you know, we like to talk about the finds, but I like to say that while there's a thrill in the find, there's also a bigger thrill in the search. And it's really that sense of exploration and a sense of discovery that keeps you going in cold and snow and rain and damp and heat and sun and humidity. At least it's what keeps me going. And I hope in 2024 you're detecting exploration is bountiful, and I'll be sure to share more of my adventures as time goes on. Thanks again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon.